Hi everyone, I'm Marcia Bent from Think Premium, and today's sales tip is really just a continuation on the challenges that persons experience with lead generation. And that one is actually talking to people. And this one's actually really near and dear to me because, and as many entrepreneurs can relate to, not everybody wants to talk to people. And I can understand from an introverted side as well, because guess what? While I don't necessarily mind speaking with persons, I'm sociable, but at the same time, it is a little draining. And if I'm already going through a really long day, I might not necessarily want to do that, especially if I'm doing that for a very long time. And guess what? Especially if you're someone who likes your own space, who at the same time may not necessarily catch a lot of social cues as persons who are a little bit more extroverted would probably be able to catch and feel more confident in. You still do have entrepreneurs who are introverts. You do still have leaders who are introverts, and you can still do very well. Now, before I even address how you can work around the different ways in which you can actually talk to persons, we need to actually identify why persons are hesitant. So it could be really just because of fear, long story short, and that might be fear of rejection, which guess what? People in general don't necessarily like hearing the word no, and that's fine. It could just be fear of the extra work or physical toll it's gonna take. And again, being an introvert, I can relate to that because being around a lot of persons can be very taxing. And especially after a long day, you don't necessarily want to do that. Or it could just be a third reason where maybe you already have a lot of stuff going on. Like maybe you already have a lot of work, and the thought of getting more work, it's not very appealing. And that's okay. So here's how I would overcome those things, right? For one, just get started. And you can start wherever you are. One of the easier ways you can start is while you're already out running errands, you talk to the persons who work there. Yes, literally have a conversation with the person behind the counter. They have to be there anyway. So it's not like they can run away. They just don't have to be there. So just have a conversation about what you're currently experiencing now. And even if that conversation doesn't go well, at least you made a start. And I set a number. So I aim to talk to at least 20 people a day. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I exceed it, but I aim to talk to at least 20 people a day. And by taking that approach, it works. So just start off by saying hi and just talk about something that you notice and wait until that natural point in the conversation where you get to ask each other what the other person does. And you can initiate. You can actually start by saying, so what do you do if you don't mind me asking? And guess what? If the person doesn't feel comfortable in revealing that, that's okay. But at least you can count that as an interaction. So kudos to you there. You just need to start. Another thing that you can do as well to overcome that is I say just use networking events and use opportunities to talk to persons by doing your preparation beforehand, so you know exactly who you want to talk to. Who are the decision makers in what industry do I need to speak to? What are they like? If you can even go on LinkedIn beforehand to see if somebody RSVPs for an event, like let's say they like an event flyer and they RSVP, if you can see that information and check them out. What do they do? Who are they, etc. So not necessarily that you're gonna stalk them at the event, but you have an idea as to who these people are and who persons in similar capacities are likely to be or what they might look like. So at least you have something to work with. Another thing that you can try as well that I do find very useful is there is door knocking. You can door knock in different communities or business places that are within your niche and have conversations about your business. Now, if your funds are there, you can do that. If not, then you don't have to. But you could try doing door knocking. A lot of persons, a lot of sales professionals do get a lot of good traction through door knocking. I prefer door knocking at businesses because guess what? I got ran down by a dog once. I'm not trying to do that. In Jamaica, we have dogs. I'm not trying to be bitten. So that's my thing there. You can try that. And there's nothing wrong with asking the persons who you know if they know of anybody that would be interested in your products or services. That's warm calling. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that because they already know you, they already like you, they already, I mean, in many cases, should trust you. So, yeah, you can ask acquaintances and friends, family members, whoever. Why not? Just strike up the conversation. You'll be surprised how far it goes. Another thing that you can do as well, do presentations in bodies that you're already a part of. You know, even introverts like to be around other people because guess what? As humans, we crave connection. So especially if you're going through a depressing period, one of the best things that you can do is be in environments where you're not necessarily by yourself the entire time and you do have to interact with persons. As much as it is taxing as an introvert, that can help to pull you out of the mood by giving you a positive distraction. Being around people who are happy forces you to be happy. A gym is a great place to start. So, and I understand that, you know, for example, men, it may be a little challenging to approach females at the gym right now. I completely understand and respect that. But at the same time, there's still other ways in which you can strike up the conversation, whether they're at the counter or they're on the way to the car, or why not have the conversation with your instructor? Opt into one of those gyms that have an instructor so you're not necessarily just there by yourself trying to figure it out. And at least you have somebody to talk to. I mean, I was at a gym where, you know, the instructors were varied. So I got an opportunity to talk to people at different points in time. And that worked for me. That really did work for me. That really helped to pull me out of a mood. And that just kept me going. So that's something you could try as well. While you're in the pharmacy, getting your meds, while you're in the supermarket, getting your groceries, just strike up a conversation. While you're at the gas station, getting your gas, strike up a conversation. You'll be surprised where it can lead. And if it doesn't go anywhere, hey, at least you tried. You can count that as an interaction. You're one step closer to getting a potential yes. So every time somebody tells you no, just remember you're one step closer. As John Maxwell said, when you get kicked in the rear, that means that you're out in front. So every time you get rejected, that means that you're one step closer to getting ahead, to getting to your goal. So just keep that in the top of your mind. You can also use social media. You can actually put up on your status what you do or share information. I try and add value because at the end of the day, people aren't necessarily just gonna give you stuff like that. You do want to add value on a consistent basis. And that helps me to do that. So I use that. I use social media to add value to persons. And I give 3 times more than I ask. My direct interactions is where I'll actually ask for stuff. But that's okay. And what you can also do in your direct interactions as well, don't be afraid to share things that other person might like books. I listen to a lot of books. So I'll share audios that I'm listening to. And there's nothing wrong with that. Little tips. A blogger too I might have created. And yeah, you can definitely do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. And just be consistent. Like the biggest crux with lead generation is just being consistent. And you have to find your way to get around that, whatever your way is. You can also be a part of your church, your local community outreach activity, your school PTA, your Sunday school service, whatever it is that whatever body you're already a part of, no. And see if you can do a 15-minute presentation. If you want to provide food, you can do that. If that will help to keep people there. But just strike up a conversation about what you already do now, and you'll be surprised. People will stop and listen if it's interesting. You just have to start. That's the biggest thing. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That's a Chinese proverb that I learned years ago, and it still sticks with me to this day. So you just have to start. Whatever it is, if you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. However it is you get there, you get. All right. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for joining. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day. And remember to never stop dreaming. Bye bye.